Anyway, so now that we have that, we're going to go up to subdivision 4 so I can show you how to export out of ZBrush back into Maya. Usually you'll do, say for instance, a character in ZBrush, and then you'll use the lowest subdivision and then use normal maps and displacement maps upon that. I'm just going to take it from level 4 so that you can kind of see that we've actually done some changes and added in some faces. Taking this now, you go down here to export as the option. Make sure that we have quads re-equipped. You can leave groups on if you wish. We don't really have a texture to this, so it's really not important, but if you did, it would export it out as an MTL, which is a material file. Go ahead and turn that off, and then you're just going to go click export. You're going to choose object export test number 2, hit save on that, hit yes. Alright, and now it's been exported out for us. We're just going to go ahead and hide this, bring up back up Maya. So we load back up Maya, and we're just going to go over here to File, Imports, and choose the option box. With the file type, have OBJ selected out of the many. Go down here to the bottom and make sure that you have create multiple objects turned to false. Otherwise, when you end up importing it back in, if anything is not within the same UV texture space, you'll end up, or you have polygroups for instance, each of those polygroups will come in as their own individual object, and that causes it to be very difficult to use again. So just go ahead and hit import and then search for our import data. Go under here, project. Go ahead and load this in, and as you can see, we now have our 2 different objects that we've used. And voila. There you go. There's the multiple resolution one that we did earlier. This is subdivision 4, and this is the one we started with. Alright, so a very important thing though I'm going to leave you off with is this. When you have an OBJ, alright, and say for instance we currently have this already here in our ZBrush, alright, we cannot add any more vertexes to the original if we wish to re-import it back in and keep the sculpt we already have done. What I mean by that is, if you go here to subdivision level 4, actually we'll just go down to, yeah, we'll leave it at subdivision level 4. Go back here into Maya, and say we go, okay, so we don't have enough topology resolution there on the sides. Let's go ahead and fix that. We'll go here to Insert Edge Loop tool, and we'll just add some edge loops in there. Alright, kind of making it uniform so that we can get some nice even distribution across when it comes to subdividing our polygons. Alright, that looks wonderful, right? But we've added vertexes, and you are not allowed to do that. And the reason why is because each vertex has a number that's applied to it, and ZBrush ends up using those numbers to refigure out where UV texture space is, where the sculpting data is, and also in order to switch back and forth between subdivision levels. You can't bring in an object now. So for instance, if we go down to our lowest subdivision, notice how we only have a few points here on the sides and we have no points in between. If I was to go here to import 3D mesh, sorry, first you need to export that out. So we'll go ahead and export that out as a new selection. Let's call this 3 for the sake of argument. And then go here into ZBrush, click import, and try to import this in. It'll give us this error. The imported mesh must have identical number of points and faces when imported into active subdivision surface. To switch to a correct subdivision level, or deselect this tool and try again. So for instance, we're not allowed to bring that in because it does not have the same amount of vertexes as the original did. What we can do though, on the other hand, is say for instance, we'll just go ahead and go back to Maya here. We'll get rid of all these subdivisions. We don't really want those at the moment. So you can't really fix that as it is once it's already begun sculpting upon. What we can do on the other hand though is we can take whatever current vertexes we already have, and we can end up moving those and making those altered here in Maya. And by altering them here in Maya, without adding any more extra divisions, we can then go ahead, select what we've done, export it out the selection, we'll just copy over this one, export the selection out, go back in here, and because this has the same amount of vertexes and polygons, we can go here to import, choose the object file here, hit open, Oops. Oh, sorry. We have to be... Let's go ahead and delete this. We'll just go ahead and import the original. I believe it still retains some of that vertexes. Alright, so we have the original here. We'll go ahead and alter a few of these vertexes. Just go ahead and bump them back and move them up. Object file, export selection, number 3. Alright, and when we import that in, you notice now that it's actually changed the shape of our original document here. And on top of that, all sculpts that we have done previously have now been translated based upon that information. So that's a really powerful way that you can, for instance, take the model you're currently working on, pose it in Maya if you have it set up with a rig already, re-import back in the mesh and have all your sculpts applied to it. Although with the new topology tools, it makes it a lot easier to do that already within ZBrush. But at the same time, still retain the sculpts that you had been working on, more or less. So, really powerful tool. Anyway, that is how you import and export from Maya to ZBrush and back again.